The most expensive mistake you're ever going to make in sales isn't what you think. It's not bad prospecting skills or bad closing techniques that you might be missing out on. What it is being able to validate what your client truly values before you ever present a solution. You see, I discovered this the hard way in my own sales career. After leaving the Marine Corps, I was so freaking determined. I wanted to succeed in sales. I was hungry. I was out there prospecting, knocking on doors, getting meetings, but I was also very optimistic. You see, every time a client said that they wanted to meet with me and told me about their challenges, I thought that we had a deal. And my next meeting would automatically be a proposal. See, I was selling office technologies and I would get super excited about all the features and benefits and new technology that was out there. And I thought it was important to them. But what I realized later is that was not the case at all. I didn't realize, but this single mistake was costing me thousands of dollars in commissions every single month. Because I was scheduling meetings, meeting with brand new clients all the time, I didn't realize how many deals I was actually losing on the back end, how many people weren't calling me back after I was submitting their proposal to them. But once I identified this problem and developed my solution, everything changed. The same prospects that were saying, I need to think about it or would ghost me or just wouldn't do anything at all started saying, hey, when can we get started? Hey, let's move forward. Today, I'm going to show you the validation framework that completely transformed my sales approach and is helping my clients bring in deals that typically fell right through their fingers. But first, let's think about why most salespeople don't validate before presenting their solution. You see, most salespeople aren't even aware that they should be doing that. We're very optimistic. We think that when somebody talks to us, we got a deal. I can't tell you how many times as a sales manager, a salesperson would come back to the office after they had a first sales call with a prospect. And I would say, hey, how did that go? And they would say, they were awesome. 99% of the time, this was the phrase that came out of their mouth. They would say, they loved me. We hit it off. We're like best friends now. These are the phrases I would hear that would just throw up red flags. And my next question would be, well, what's the next step? They would say, next step is a proposal. A week would go by. We're in a sales meeting and I would ask the sales rep, like, hey, so how's that going? I don't know. I've followed up with them 7 times and they're not getting back to me. We call that being ghosted in sales. And by the way, if you're using the follow-up, what you're really doing is saying the big F you to your client. So stop using that acronym with your client. See, what happens is they believe they communicated. They believe they understood the client. They never validated it. And so oftentimes they present a solution that's not the right solution for the problem that they were trying to solve. And many times the salesperson doesn't even realize what problem they're trying to solve before they're validating. They just show up and they show their solutions. They talk about features and benefits. And when we present a proposal that does not meet the mark for the client, they'll go dark. They'll tell you they have to think about it. They'll tell you that they're reviewing other options. And what really happened is we broke rapport. We presented something that was not really what they needed. Now I'm going to give you an overview of my 3-part validation process that if done correctly, the deal is going to close itself. The client's actually going to tell you what they want to buy from you. You're going to understand how much they have to spend. You're going to understand what's stopping them from spending that money. And you're going to know exactly when they want to implement that deal. Part 1 is value discovery. Have a framework for your questioning model. The first type of questions you want to ask when you get there are curiosity questions. We want to understand what interested the client in meeting with you today to begin with. Why did they give you time? Why did they schedule off time to meet with you? The second types of questions you're going to ask are today questions. Now, this is where we're going to focus in and laser in on your specific area of expertise. So for like me, one of the today questions might sound something like, hey, Mr. Customer, so what are you guys doing for sales training today? How are you training your sales team? So I want to understand, like, today, how are things happening in their organization? The third types of questions, we want to know, what do you want it to be like? So, hey, if we're speaking 12 months from now, everything went exactly how you wanted it to go, what does it look like now? What are your sales reps doing that they're not currently doing? This is going to give them the opportunity to tell you what it is that they want. Your job is to write down as many notes in as great of a detail as possible, because guess what? What you're doing at this point is you're building out the proposal right from the start, and then stop sign questions. So if they know what they want it to be like, what's stopping them from doing that today? I want to understand what they perceive are the barriers. Where most salespeople make a mistake is they start assuming. They'll say, oh, because you're not here, that means that this, and this is going on. So I'm asking you to show up super curious. Even if you think you know the answer, don't try to be interesting. You want to be interested in what they have to say. What you say is not the truth. What they say is going to be the truth. So give them the space to talk. Ask the questions, pause, and listen. The last question types are personal reward questions. Look, we've all heard that people buy emotionally, they justify it logically. Hey, if we are able to train your sales team and now they've doubled their revenue, what does that mean to you? Are you going to get promoted? I want to know what is the cause behind them wanting that solution. Another great question to ask at the end, if you do nothing about this, what will happen in 6 to 12 months? Part 2 is active reflection. And this is where many sales professionals make a mistake. They just assume. So they've done a bang up job getting all the intelligence gathered. They understand what the client's needs are. They understand what the client's future goals are and what their vision is, what they believe is stopping them. And then here's where they'll say, hey, I'm going to go get together a proposal. What I want you to do is something different. We want to pause. And it's going to sound something like, based on what you said, you are here today. You want to be here. This is what you believe is stopping you. And if we can make this happen for you, this is going to change. Does it sound like I've heard you correctly? That's one of the biggest complaints everywhere is that people don't feel like they're being heard. By asking that one question, you're showing them that you appreciate them, you respect them, and you truly took the time to understand them. And you're not just there to pitch whatever product or service that you have. You're there to solve a challenge for them. They might say, oh, you know what? You missed this, or you know what? I forgot to tell you this. It keeps the door open for more conversation. Now, step 3 is solution mapping. You and I both know that at this point, we have enough to go and get a proposal together. But I want you to tease it just a little bit more. Yes, I'm the only sales trainer that's telling you to slow down instead of speed up. But if you use this technique, it's actually going to help you close the deal way faster and prevent any opportunity for getting ghosted. Now that you've gathered all the information, you've repeated back to them what their challenges were, where they want to be, and they agreed to those. We now want them to agree on the solution before you ever present pricing. So if you're selling something where you can just present, if it's a one-day close, you can do it right there on the spot. If it's not a one-day close, do not present a solution yet. Tell them, all right, great. Let me go think about the best way to move forward. I'll put something together for you. The key is schedule your next step right then and there and say, hey, our next step would be to validate. I'm going to present you with a solution. Let me know what you think. If this will work, not work, if you want to tweak it, it's important for us to get that right. When you get back, what essentially you're going to do is you're going to put together a proposal, but you're going to leave out the pricing. And your next meeting, you can actually show up with a proposal with pricing and one without. And what you're going to do is you're going to show them the one without, and you're going to say, hey, based on everything you told me, we're going to recap it, right? You're here. You want to be here. This is what you believe is stopping you. And here's what we talked about. Did I miss anything? Has anything changed on your end? If they say, nope, you got it, what happens in that case is, one, they feel like you really, really heard them. They feel like you truly understand their challenge and you truly want to help. So then you're going to go over your proposal. You're going to say, okay, so specifically this was one of the challenges. Here's how I recommend we fix this. Every solution that you're presenting is tied back into a challenge that they expressed to you. Then you say, how does this sound? If they say, great, what's the cost? You pull out the other proposal and you're ready to go. They've just told you that everything you said is great and they're moving forward with it. They've made a commitment to you, my friend. And I'll share with you really quick a powerful, powerful principle. It's out of Dr. Robert Cialdini's book called Influence. It's probably one of the top sellers of all times. But one of the principles of influence is consistency and commitment. When we commit to something, then we don't want to back out of it. One of the ways I use this is when I go and meet with an organization about some kind of a training, before I give them any legit proposal, I always design the training first. I say, here's based on these challenges, here's what we're going to cover, here's how it's going to solve the problem. What do you think? They actually tell me how they want to structure it. These are the things that I don't know that could completely derail a deal if I just email them a proposal, because a confused mind will always say no. And our job is to evoke exactly what the client is wanting, what they believe is keeping them from being stuck, and make the process as simple and as smooth as we possibly can. Now look, I know it's going to seem uncomfortable to you if you try to implement the validation technique today, but I promise you it's going to skyrocket your conversion rates if you do it correctly. I mean, think about when you're going to a restaurant and the waitress goes around and takes everybody's order. Before he or she goes back to the kitchen, what do? They repeat the order back to you to make sure they got it correctly so they don't make any mistakes. So tell your client that, say, hey, I think I got you correct. I think I understood everything you said. Let me put a plan together and we can both look it over and see if that's the way to move forward. And I promise you, my friend, they're going to appreciate it even more. They're going to respect you for doing that. They're going to think that you're on their side, which you should be if you're in sales. Hey, now you understand how the proper validation can completely transform your sales conversation, but it only works if you're talking to the right people at the right time. You got to have pre-qualified people. And most of the time, if you're in B2B, you can find them on where? LinkedIn. So this is exactly why I created the LinkedIn Prospecting Playbook. It's completely free. The link is somewhere below this video. Download your copy. It doesn't cost you anything. And in there, you're going to have 6 tips and 9 scripts that you can use. You can literally copy and paste them into your LinkedIn Messenger when you're connecting with people. It's literally going to help you meet with these people so that you can finally validate and close. And happy selling, my friend. If you like this video, hit subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, all focusing on selling techniques, all focusing on helping you close more business, grow your business, and hit that President's Club in your company. I'll see you on the next video, my friend.